Hey everyone, welcome back. We are in week 7. We made it through. This is the final week of the 7 steps. Now, next week, I'm going to go and wrap all this together in a really good bow. And so, if you have done all of this work, first of all, if you are one of the ones that have stayed with me each week and have completed the workbook, I would love to connect with you. If you are caught up this week, or if you are continuing to work on this week, regardless if you're caught up to this very date or if you're listening to this later and you've really, like said Bethany, yeah, I've taken this 1 week at a time and I've really made this a huge part of what I'm doing. If you've done this, if you will email Bethany at Step Out and Thrive, me your copy of a workbook or a little bit of your story and let me know how that's going. A, I would love to share that to encourage other people. But B, I would love to offer you a free time, a little bit of session with me as well, to make sure that I can help you launch and encourage and answer any questions that you may have. So if you want to do that, that'd be great. I'd love to hear from you. And with that being said, yay, you made it to week 7. Congratulations. That's no small feat, regardless of where you are in the process. And I always say this, if you're jumping in now, I love you, but go back to week 1 of this series because this really won't make sense. I mean, hey, you can start with the ending and see how great it is to make it here. We want you to make it here. However, if you actually want to do the work and show up and launch a group, if there's something that you're working on, if there's an activity that you wanted to do with your kids on a weekly basis, if there's a mission trip, which, by the way, shout out to Springfield. You guys are awesome. So excited for them. They're going on a mission trip and they've used these materials and these resources for that group. And if you're going on a mission trip and you want to really make that a memorable experience and show up and get closer as a group before you go, these are great steps to be able to do that. Same thing if you're launching a counseling group or a coaching group or a coach or a group in your church, whether it's a Bible study. Maybe you just want a group where you can connect and grow and get to know each other better and learn how to hold space for one another well. These are all incidences of where this plan, this 7-step strategy, can help you do that in an effective way. So with that being said, you should have already had your workbook by now, but if not, just a reminder, you can get it at bethanyboring.com. And you can just click on that 7 steps for building your group successfully book. And you can click on that and get that right away for free. Here we go. Step 7, really hard. No, it's really not. It's really not. It's all about evaluate and improve. So there's 2 different steps to this. And I'll be honest with you, at my beginning stages, I did not do the evaluation part the best. I wanted improvement. I wanted to get better, but I didn't do the evaluation step the best. And so I'm going to give you 2 different things that I would like to encourage you to evaluate. Now, those that are in the TIP community group, they get forms and they get, professional ways of actually doing this. But if you're not in that group, you need to sit back and go, what are some questions? What are some areas? What are some things that I really do want evaluated on? Both as a facilitator, but also as a group as a whole. And so the 2 different areas that you're looking at is, one, like I just mentioned before, your role as a facilitator, leader, whatever you're calling yourself. You need somebody that's either trained in that area, somebody that you look up to, somebody that you trust to really evaluate you. Here's what I see happening in a lot of groups. In a lot of groups, I see them, the leader, the facilitator, asking the group members, hey, how did I do? Okay, A, they're probably not going to tell you the truth, just keeping it real. Even if they tell a third party, they're probably not going to say the truth. And B, a lot of people don't know what to really look for in a facilitator or leader unless they've done their job themselves, unless they've had some training. And so really, if you're really wanting to improve, if you're wanting to get better in these areas, it really does do your group some amazing favor. You have either somebody in your group that has some previous training that is there for the sole purpose of really evaluating you in a safe, sincere way to help you grow. They can either be a part of that group, but they can also look and help you improve in that way. So again, you need them to be part of the group if they're there actually at the group. but they also need to be able to facilitate with you and help you evaluate how you're doing as a facilitator. Now, the way I've seen this done the best is actually for online groups that are meeting on Zoom. You can ask to have that group recorded. Now, this doesn't work for all groups. I repeat, this does not work for all groups. Some groups are so deep in sharing, it really almost feels like a violation of privacy to have it recorded. So you get to use your own discernment there. But I will say, in my time with Luke 10, when we did this facilitator training, when I was able to record and I was able to go look back and watch myself, which is painfully hard. Okay. It's not easy to do, to watch yourself back. You guys know, if you're a speaker or you do podcasting or you do this stuff, it's so hard because each time you're trying to get better, but yet you have to evaluate yourself. You have to listen. And it's so painstakingly hard. Okay. It's not something easy to do. But what makes it even more challenging is when you have a loving person in your corner with experience, with somebody that you really look up to, that is walking with you through that journey, and say, hey, I see that you want to facilitate. And these are some areas that you did amazingly well. What areas did you find well? What areas did you see God show up in? What areas would you maybe have done something differently? You know, all these really curious, amazing questions that they can sit in curiosity with you. But please make sure that you find somebody that will build you up. Find somebody that's going to give you the truth. Find somebody that's going to build you up, and find somebody that can sit with you in curiosity that you feel safe with. So if you guys are watching that recording and you're able to evaluate, both of you two can watch it, and then you can see yourself grow in a couple weeks. So that's a great way of doing it, especially if you're just getting started. It's a great way of doing it. It's something that I offer in my tip community groups for those that are launching groups, especially online. We watch videos together that they record, and we have these evaluation sessions, and it's just more of an encouragement session than anything else, because they walk away encouraged and inspired and seeing things that they didn't see before in themselves, in the way that God wired them. It's so amazingly amazing, awesome. So with that being said, you have somebody that's looking at how you're doing in your role besides the group members. That's the key. If you're really wanting to grow, if you're really wanting to improve, you have to take that step for yourself. Number two, you're evaluating, and you guessed it already, the group. You are asking the group to evaluate how they believe things went. Now, here's the thing that I've learned as well. If you are doing any group longer than 6 to 8 weeks, I do not do this in my normal tip groups because they're only 6 to 8 weeks. But for my tip community groups, I do have what I like to call check-ins, where I call or I Marco Polo or I text some of the members to say, hey, how is the group going for you? Is it meeting this need? And I'll list a specific thing. I'll open up the lines of communication, because here's the thing. Tip community groups at a minimum go 6 months. Most of my people go 12 months. So I want to make sure that they're getting above and beyond what they thought they were going to get. So whatever I need to do to make sure that they get to that part, be what I offered, sometimes above what I offer, but normally what I offer, I want to make sure that I'm doing that. And if I promise something, I want to make sure that I keep my word. If I misrepresented something, then I'm going to make sure I still make sure that need gets met. But next time, you better know that I'm not going to be offering that in the way that I stated previously. That kind of makes sense. I'm also learning, hey, that there's an issue, we can address it at the beginning rather than get through the whole 6 months and then realize, oh, they didn't even get this met, or they didn't learn this, or they don't feel comfortable trying to launch a group right now. They're scared to death. What did I not do along this way that could help them build up their confidence? So now they're ready to launch. Now for the next 6 months, they're launching, they're doing it, and make sure that they're ready to go. All of this is important. How you do it is up to you. What feels good to you? What feels light to you? What feels encouraging to you? I've seen evaluations go very, very wrong and hurtful, and almost just, just throw people out. I've seen it done just not in a good way. However, I will say my time in professional coaching has helped me really give evaluations to my clients, to my groups, in a way that makes them feel good and makes me feel good too, because we have such a safe environment that they feel like they can come to me. Even if I don't give them the evaluation form, they feel like they can come to me and say, hey, Bethany, you promised A, B, C, and I only got A. And they feel open and honest to talk to me about that because we're touching base periodically. That's also why I have smaller groups, because if I'm going to offer something, I really do feel that passionate that I want to make sure my group members leave with what I offered. I want to make sure that they're getting what they paid for. I want to make sure that it really is an experience for them. And so if I'm going to do that, I only have so much bandwidth. And so that's another reason I keep my group small, so I can really dedicate my time, my energy, my attention, my relational capacity to those that I have in my group. And so hope that makes sense for everybody. Hope that gives you a kind of a starting place. Again, if you're in my tip community groups, you get some forms, you get these areas that we can practice on, and plus you get to experience them. So you'll have that to go into. If you're not, you might connect with a mentor, you might connect with somebody that's been through some kind of training, and they may be able to give you some ideas of either forms or questions that you can offer, a process that you can go through. If you're out there and you're kind of curious about tip community groups and what we do and why this step is so important, feel free to reach out, because I would love to have a conversation with you, because this step is not done well in most groups that I've been a part of. I'm just keeping it real. It's either like a survey that we get sent at the end, and it's basically, how did you think the group went? And it's okay. It's okay. It gets the basics, but I don't know how much growth is really possible for that. So you're wanting to assess where you're at, but then also improve. So evaluation and improvement. You don't want to just evaluate to feel like you got something done. That's great. You really do want to improve. And so the way that you go about it will determine how much improvement that you see, not only in yourself, but in how the group connects, and the safety of the group, and the security of the group, and the transformation of those involved in your group. So with that being said, hopefully that explains that part. Hopefully you're getting some ideas. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, Bethany at stepouandthrive.com, or connect with me on the socials, BethanyBourne.com. And again, if you're caught up and this is your last session and you have done all the previous sessions, if you can prove to me that you've done this, email this to me. And this session that we just talked about today, we can have a discussion about it. And you can get maybe some of those questions and answers that you would love to have. I'd love to gift that to you. And so reach out and we'll get that scheduled, and we'll love to hear from you. So if you haven't done this series, that's fine. Take your time, and I'll be there when you do get that completed, and we'd love to hear from you. So have a great week. Again, next week we'll be back, kind of wrapping this all up in a bow and making sure that you can get your group launched. All right. See you guys back next week. You're doing a great job. I'm so proud of y'all. Okay. See you later. Bye.